Before you even speak a word, you've already announced to the world whether to respect you or to attack you. Disrespect is not random. It is a response. It is a response to the invisible signals you broadcast every second, your posture, your gaze, the hesitation in your voice, and the energy you bring to the room. You are being disrespected because your subconscious is screaming weakness. And in the game of power, weakness is a death sentence. You feel a sense of confusion, a quiet rage. You're following the rules of society. Be good, be honest, be fair. Yet you are consistently treated as a pawn, a side character in a game you don't understand. Here is the brutal truth. You are being disrespected because you are following these rules. Society designed these rules for the masses, a set of moral guidelines to ensure you remain predictable, manageable, and weak. This playbook is a lie. It's a cage disguised as a virtue. This great societal lie is what we have called the cost of goodness. It's the comforting myth that your virtue is a shield, but in the real game, your virtue is a handicap. The creators of this system, those who benefit from your predictable cooperation, sold you this playbook because it stops you from ever accumulating real power. They need you to believe in fairness so they can continue to operate with leverage. The truth is, there is a second, hidden set of rules. The rules of power. These are the rules the masters, the architects, and the strategists live by. They understand that respect is never given, it is taken. They know that the world is a brutal theater, not a fair courtroom. This is the cold, hard reality that Niccolò Machiavelli observed 500 years ago. He watched virtuous leaders be overthrown, betrayed, and destroyed, not because they were wrong, but because they were weak. He saw that the rulers who survived were not the nicest or the most moral, but those who understood human nature, its greed, its fear, and its hunger for power. They understood that to protect your goals, your people, and your peace, you cannot be a sheep. You must be a lion, and you must be a fox. While you are trying to be liked, they are focused on being respected. While you are trying to be transparent, they are building an aura of mystery. While you are reacting to disrespect, they are building a fortress of consequences, so that no one dares to disrespect them in the first place. Today, we are burning society's playbook. We will expose the 5 brutal truths, the hidden weaknesses in your own behavior that make you a target. These are the laws of psychological power that Machiavelli understood, and that you will now master. If you are ready to stop being disrespected and start becoming a force to be reckoned with, type this into the comments below. I am no one's target. Chapter 1. The Law of the Open Book. The first and most critical reason you are disrespected is that you are too easy to read. You are an open book in a world full of spies. The amateur, raised on the lie of honesty, believes transparency builds trust. You share your fears, your doubts, your plans, and your intentions freely, hoping to build a connection. You are not building a connection. You are handing your enemy a map of your mind and a list of your weaknesses. When you reveal your anxieties, you show them where to apply pressure. When you reveal your hopes, you show them what to hold hostage. When you reveal your plans, you show them how to sabotage you. Predictability is the death of respect. When people know exactly how you will react, what you want and what you fear, you become a simple machine. They can push a button and get the exact emotional response they want. This is not respect. This is control. The architect, however, understands the power of calculated opacity. They are a locked diary. They show the world only what is necessary, a carefully curated mask that serves their purpose. This isn't about lying, it is about strategic communication. This strategic communication follows one simple rule: reveal only what serves your purpose. Before you speak, you must ask yourself, does sharing this piece of information move me closer to my objective? If the answer is no, remain silent. This is not deception, it is discipline. It is the art of using your words as tools, not as an emotional exhaust. While the amateur uses speech to express their internal state, the master uses it to architect an external result. To stop this, you must master the art of the unsaid. When someone asks you a prying question, you don't need to lie or be rude. You answer a different, simpler question. You reframe. You use ambiguity as a shield. When a rival asks, "Are you nervous about the upcoming presentation?" the amateur says, "Yes, I'm terrified. I barely slept. I'm worried they'll hate my idea." The master replies, "I'm looking forward to finally getting the data in front of them." The second answer signals control. Your silence, your mystery, your ability to remain unreadable. This is what creates fascination and fear. People cannot control what they do not understand. When they cannot read you, they cannot predict you, and what they cannot predict, they begin to respect. Your information is your currency. Stop giving it away for free. Type this into the comments. My mystery is my power. Chapter 2. The Law of the Unfair Game. You believe in fairness. You were taught to do the right thing, to play by the rules, and to treat others as you wish to be treated. This is the core of your goodness. It is also the core reason you are exploited. The amateur walks into the world expecting a fair, civilized exchange. They believe in reciprocity. They give, expecting to receive. They yield, expecting others to yield in turn. They are sheep negotiating with a pack of wolves. The architect understands the brutal reality. The world is not fair. It is a hierarchy of power. The rules you hold so dear are invisible to those who operate on a higher level of strategy. When you constantly play fair, you are sending a clear, dangerous signal. I am willing to lose, as long as the rules are followed. This need for fairness is a critical weakness. Your rival will break the rules, take what they want, and then watch as you complain to an authority that doesn't care. You didn't lose because you were outplayed. You lost because you were playing an imaginary game. This is the amateur's ultimate trap. They play the game, lose, and then try to appeal the outcome. Complaining about unfairness is the lowest form of power. It is a loud announcement to the world that you had no leverage, no strategy, and no understanding of the real stakes. It is the cry of the pawn who has just been sacrificed. The architect never complains about the rules, they simply use them to their advantage. To stop this, you must exchange your need for fairness for a mastery of leverage. Power, not morality, dictates outcomes. This requires a cold, pragmatic shift in your mindset. You must see every interaction as a map of power dynamics. The next time you are in a negotiation, stop focusing on what is fair and start analyzing the hidden power dynamics. Who needs this deal more? What are their fears? What is their deadline? What are my alternatives? These are not just questions, they are the tools you use to find the cracks in their foundation. The architect finds the lever and applies pressure, while the amateur argues about the right way to build. This is not about becoming cruel, it is about becoming effective. You must be willing to use your leverage, to hold your ground, and to make decisions based on strategic advantage, not on a childish hope for fairness. When you stop begging for fairness, you stop signaling that you are willing to be a victim. You signal that you understand the true nature of the game, and that is when you begin to earn true respect. To affirm your understanding of this law, type this into the comments. I operate on leverage, not on hope. Chapter 3. The Law of the Beggar's Throne. The third reason you are disrespected is that you are desperate to be liked. This need for external validation is a chain around your neck, and your rivals hold the leash. The amateur, the people-pleaser, is terrified of rejection. They are afraid to say no. They soften their opinions, hide their true thoughts, and shrink themselves to avoid conflict. They believe this agreeableness makes them nice. It does not. It makes them controllable. The moment you need someone else's approval to feel good about yourself, you have given them total power over you. They can control your behavior with a simple compliment or a subtle frown. You are a puppet dancing on their strings. When you chase approval, you signal that your own self-worth is negotiable, and they will negotiate it down to zero. The architect is not concerned with being liked. They are concerned with being respected, and they understand the two are often opposites. The architect understands a cold, hard truth. The person who is liked is the person who is most easily controlled. Liking is an emotional currency paid for by your compromises and appeasement. It is a reward for being harmless. Respect, however, is a strategic position. It is not built on your goodness, but on your strength. Machiavelli knew true power comes from a reputation of unshakable will, a willingness to act decisively and unpopularly. A respected person doesn't avoid conflict. They have simply proven that conflict with them is a losing proposition. The master practices the law of detachment. Their self-worth is a fortress built internally. It is not dependent on the praise or criticism of the crowd. They are willing to be misunderstood, disliked, or even feared if it serves their ultimate purpose. To stop this, you must sever your addiction to validation. This is the critical shift. When you defend, justify, or over-explain your position, you are non-verbally communicating that their opinion has the power to judge you. You are handing them the throne. The master never defends their reality. They state it. They operate from a frame of power, and that frame is non-negotiable. To put this into practice, start with small acts of dissent. Say no to a small, unimportant request. State a calm, rational opinion in a group, even if it's not the popular one. Do not defend. Do not over-explain. State your position with cold, simple clarity. I will not be able to attend. I don't agree with that assessment. That does not work for me. Watch what happens. The world will not end, but the dynamic will shift. When you show people that their approval is irrelevant to you, they are left with only one option: to respect you. Type this into the comments. I am the source of my own validation. Chapter 4. The Law of the Paper Fence. You have set your boundaries. You have told people what you will and will not accept, but you are still disrespected. Why? Because your boundaries are a lie. They are a paper fence. This is the fourth reason you are a target. Your boundaries have no consequences. The amateur believes that stating a boundary is enough. They say, "Don't speak to me like that," or "You must not do that again." But when the person does it again, the amateur does nothing. They get angry, they complain, they explain why their feelings are hurt. This is the worst possible response. This emotional outburst is precisely what your rival wants. It confirms their power over you. By getting angry or hurt, you are accepting their frame. You've turned your boundary into a negotiation. You've just taught your rival a critical lesson. Your words are meaningless. You are all bark and no bite. Every time you let someone cross a boundary without enforcing a cold, hard consequence, you are training them to disrespect you. You are rewarding their bad behavior with your continued presence. The architect, the master strategist, understands that a boundary without a consequence is just a polite request. It is a suggestion. A true boundary is not a wall, which is passive and defensive. It is a trap, which is active and offensive. A wall just sits there, waiting to be tested, climbed over, or torn down. A trap, however, is an active system. It is a predetermined automatic mechanism that is simply waiting for a trigger. It is a clear, if-then statement you have decided on long before the violation occurs. If you speak to me that way again, this conversation is over. If you are late to this meeting again, you will be removed from the project. If you betray my trust, you will lose my partnership permanently. And when the line is crossed, you do not get angry. You do not get emotional. You do not negotiate. You simply, calmly, and immediately execute the consequence. This absence of emotion is the source of all your power. The amateur's anger signals a loss of control. The architect's calm execution signals something far more terrifying. It signals that the consequence is not an emotional punishment, but the impersonal, logical conclusion of the other person's actions. The trap doesn't get angry, it just works. You are not a reactor, you are an enforcer of your own laws. You end the call. You remove them from the project. You walk away and never look back. This is the darkest way to handle disrespect, with cold, decisive, surgical action. The pain of the consequence is what teaches them a lesson. This is what builds real respect. Not your anger, not your words, but your ruthless consistency in enforcing your own laws. Type this into the comments to affirm your commitment. My boundaries are built of steel. Chapter 5. The Law of the Unseen. The final reason you are disrespected is the most subtle and the most powerful. You are disrespected before you even speak. This is the source of the invisible signals we spoke of in the beginning. It is in the way you walk into a room, the way you take up space, or the way you shrink to avoid it. It is in the way your eyes dart around, seeking approval. It is in the way you react with nervous laughter or a quick defensive posture to the slightest provocation. The amateur is a fountain of reactive emotional energy. They are constantly broadcasting their internal state, fear, anxiety, neediness, anger. They have no control over their own presence. They are psychologically loud and messy. Your rivals read this a mile away. They see an unstable, emotional, and reactive person, the perfect target for manipulation and disrespect. The architect is the silent king. They are not a fountain of energy, they are a void of predatory calmness. They understand that true status is non-verbal. They do not broadcast, they absorb. They take in the chaos of the room and project only absolute stillness, a deep, unnerving self-possession. They understand the law of the alpha. They control their entrance. They walk into a room with a measured, deliberate pace. Their posture is open, their gaze is steady. They do not rush, they do not seek, they simply are. Their calmness is a non-verbal declaration of power. I am not rattled, I am not threatened, I am in complete control of myself. This silent, unshakable presence is what others fear more than any anger. It makes them uncomfortable. It creates a psychological vacuum that their loud, messy energy rushes to fill. It forces them to over-explain, to get nervous, to chatter. It forces them to react to you. To start implementing this, practice the power of the pause. When asked a question, do not blurt out the first answer. Pause, breathe, think, then respond. This small gap of silence signals that you are in control, not reacting on impulse. Practice taking up space. Stand tall. Keep your shoulders back. This non-verbally communicates that you are not intimidated and that you believe you have a right to be there. Practice a steady, calm gaze. Do not be the first to look away. This signals authority and an unshakable inner core. You are sculpting a new persona, one of absolute self-possession. This is the aura of a king, and it is the ultimate defense against disrespect. Type this into the comments to affirm your kingship. My presence is my power. You now see the 5 brutal truths. You see that what you thought were your virtues, your transparency, your fairness, your agreeableness, were actually just society's ways of controlling you, training you to become a target. The good news, these are not your permanent traits. They are the scars left by society's broken playbook. They are the habits of the pawn. And today you have burned that book. You now hold the architect's blueprints. With these blueprints, you now understand the fundamental equation. Respect is not a gift you receive in exchange for kindness. It is a consequence of your power. It is the tax that the world must pay to your mystery, your leverage, your detachment, your consequences, and your unshakable presence. But knowledge without action is useless. A blueprint is just paper. You must become the builder. Do not try to master all 5 laws at once. That is the amateur's mistake. They get overwhelmed and do nothing. The master is patient. Choose one law that resonated with you most, just one. For the next 7 days, make it your singular focus. If you are too transparent, your mission is to become the locked diary. If you seek validation, your mission is to practice saying no without a single word of justification. This is the work. This is the act of sculpting your new self, of replacing the old weak habits with the new, cold discipline of the architect. This is how you stop being the target. This is how you become the architect. You will no longer be the pawn, reacting to a game you don't understand. You will be the silent king, the unseen hand, the force that makes the pieces move. If this video has armed you with a new, colder and more powerful understanding, hit that like button. Share this video with one person who is still playing by the broken rules. And subscribe for more dark, strategic wisdom that society never wanted you to find. Finally, drop this last affirmation in the comments to seal your new identity. I am the architect of my own respect.